Vacuum Gap has always been designed around using as much procedurally generated content as possible. Right now, this is only in the form of geometry based on parameters. This is a scene that without the parameterized geometry, and then with it added in. This is relatively simple stuff like tiling floor elements, tiling wall elements. There are some neat little wall elements that can have arbitrarily shaped cutouts like this, and that allows me to build doors and windows into walls. There's also a cool component that builds vents based on nodes. So this entire vent can be sized to any different shape, and it will kind of build all the pieces in the correct order and do all the UV tiling. The next step in all of this is going to be the layout of the level. So even the placement of rooms will be parameterized. I started on this and have been working for about a day now. So this is the rough early work in progress where I can generate a set of rooms with relatively random shape that are connected by hallways. And this is a set of tiles that are either walkable like this or not walkable. The code looks something like, if I can find a hall. Here we go. So halls simply have a length and a direction, and rooms simply have a couple of quadrants. So you can imagine this is actually a single quadrant. This room over here is probably 3, maybe one there, one here, and one here, that all are guaranteed to overlap. And then those are built into a dictionary of XY coordinates and tiles, where tiles are just a few properties such as their location and whether they're walkable. You can of course see that this is very early and that the doors are not placed or rotated correctly at all. So that's something that I need to solve, of course. And all this works because the game has always been designed to have lighting and AI navigation and all those things generated at runtime. So I never used any of the Unity light mapping or anything like that, none of their occlusion culling, so that I could have those things baked at runtime. So even in this early state, it's actually playable, technically, where if I select a procedural world, it plays, and I can run around inside a room, which actually, if I pause it, you can see that it's a different layout than before. So each one of these will have different layouts. Some of the challenges that I'm going to face are going to be making the geometry interesting. Right now, since the rooms can have somewhat random shape, it's difficult to make them compact. So I end up with long hallways connecting these rooms. There are a couple ways that I can get around that. One would be to generate the rooms first and place them compactly and then put halls between them instead of what I'm doing now, which is kind of making pieces as I go. But I'm not sure I'm going to do that because making pieces as I go actually means I can generate content. I can generate the next room at runtime as well. So, if I have something like a wave-based bot hunt, the levels could get easier or harder depending on how well you do. That's just one idea. And of course, I'm going to be adding other levels, and hopefully there will be some modes where there can be multiple halls to get between rooms. This is designed for a completely linear bot hunt. You just clear the room. Once all the enemies are dead, the door opens and you can go to the next. But there could be modes that are more stealth-based and that you want different paths. And eventually I would even like to have some simple puzzles, like there will be a keypad to open the door and the code will be hidden somewhere in the room. So there are a lot of different ways I can go with this, and I think that to start with, the best option is to get an end-to-end simple bot hunt where you can play, it's different each time, you can kill the enemies and open the door, and that should be a relatively simple starting point to have a semi-finished product with.